Blue Jays today, where today the Blue Jays have just made the second biggest signing in franchise history. Welcome to Toronto, Dylan Cease. We're going to break it down, give you our reactions, but of course, hit that like, smash, subscribe button. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And if you want to know how we're feeling about this signing, it's something kind of like,
Let's go!
Sound right there, everybody. No, listen, it feels good, okay? I had to rush to the convenience store to just get us anything popping worthy. Because I'll be honest, folks, I wasn't. Yes, this isn't even
very
alcoholic.
interesting.
It's a bludge orange thing, but it's the sentiment, okay? It's the sentiment. But the reason that we didn't already have something, popping worthy available was because I didn't expect them to go out and do this early, right? Early before anybody was on this.
Yeah.
Ross said, enough fucking around. I don't want to have happen what's happened in years prior where we're in on it. We're talking. Nothing materializes. He said, you know what? I'm going to strike first. I'm going to get this thing done.
Think about when they signed Max Fried, the New York Yankees last year. That was relatively around this time as well. They were like, bam, we need our pitching. We need to go get it. Pitching flies off the table. And the Blue Jays, they needed to go get him done, and they need to get one guy that they really liked, and that guy was Dylan Cease. Now, of course, we're going to break down everything, but first reaction, when you're reading that tweet, Dylan Cease of the Blue Jays, $210 million for 7 years. I'm seeing some comments. Some people are saying, holy overpay. Well, let me just paint it this way. Let's chop it up to basic mathematics. That's $30 million per year. Thoughts on that for a guy like Dylan Cease?
Well,
just like that value.
I'll tell you what, man. The second that I saw the notification, the first thing that was coming to mind for me anyways was, I freaking fracking told you so. And that's to every single individual that's commented below all of our videos saying, what are you guys talking about? They're going to get strung along. They're going to use this leverage again. No. Nay. This year is different, right? This is the World Series effect, having been 2 outs away from hoisting the trophy. And I kept saying to everybody, even my friends and my family and my personal life, I kept showing them that clip of Edward Rogers thinking that Toronto won the World Series, and then seconds later having that horrible disbelief kick in, the painful disbelief of, oh no, IKF was actually thrown out on that play and we didn't win. That guy is a man who I would assume does not want to feel that feeling ever again, and this is a great first sign to honestly indicate what this offseason could look like, which might be one of the bigger offseasons we've ever seen from the Toronto Blue Jays.
100%. Now, obviously, when Edward Rogers sees the World Series collapse in front of his eyeballs, it's like, okay, well, open up the pocketbooks. Because remember all the years prior where it's like, okay, we got to stick to our valuations. We got to stick to our values, blah, 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 blah. There's no value right now. It's like, what pitcher do you want? We like this guy. We think this guy could help us build a future. Boom. Give him anything he wants. Pay him the money. And when I saw that notification, obviously I was actually playing video games and Nick tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, oh my God, they signed. I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing Arc Raiders. I got to extract. But when I looked down at $210 million 7 years, I thought immediately, great. Excellent. Move on, because that's what we needed. We needed to build a pillar in this roster. We've been talking about for days, weeks, almost a month now into this free agency. We need to get a dude to replace the pillar of Kevin Gausman.
That's the guy.
A 29-year-old Dylan Cease. We're going to have him to his age 36 season effectively. That's the pillar right there.
It's quite literally going to become the new Kevin Gausman. I know that they're not the same pitcher in any capacity. Like Dylan Cease, the strikeout stuff is crazy. Yeah. Kevin Gausman used to be kind of a strikeout guy. Never to the level of Dylan Cease, though. But what we're talking about when we say that is getting a veteran pitcher who theoretically should be in the prime of their career and then having him for the second half. Kevin Gausman, that signing is probably going to go down as one of the better free agent signings in Blue Jays history.
We were just talking about it before that we hit live button.
I mean, like, they hit big on that signing, and they're looking to do it again because he's only got 1 more year left on his contract. If he was to leave and we hadn't already fixed that hole, like, it would have been panic mode next offseason because God only knows what the pitching staff would look like. Now you don't need to worry as much. Now you could let Kevin Gausman walk next year, and you don't have to freak out because, hey, there's Dylan Cease who's going to be here for 6 more seasons.
Now, Now there see a lot of people in here that are skeptical because let's not sugarcoat it. Or let's not sugarcoat it. He wasn't good in terms of the ERA last year, but we have a lot of stats and a lot of things to back that up. Before we do, let's give a shout out here to Scott Farr with a $4.99 dono. I missed you guys, saying this is a great signing. Lights out rotation, now top 4. Fantastic now. Just a closer and a bat. We're moving now. Here come the Jays. Go Ross. And that's the thing too. Like, before we get into Dylan Cease and more about him, like, we got that starter. Great. That's what we need to do. Just get one frontline guy. That is Dylan Cease. Go get a bullpen guy. Maybe one other guy. And the bat. Done. That's all you need to do.
It is phenomenal that this problem has already been dealt with this early, with still a week or 2 to go, like a week and a half, 2 weeks effectively, until winter meetings. That's phenomenal. We are getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Let's just soak in exactly what this means for Toronto. Also, shout out to everybody that has donated up until this point. If we missed anything, I think Jordan Keats donated as well here. Let's effing go. World Series bound. Love from the Yukon. W's in the chat for everybody that's donated. Hit that like, smash that subscribe button. Also, let us know your thoughts about this down below, whether you're watching this live right now or whether you're watching this a little bit later and we're no longer live. Would love to see the comments. Rate this move out of 10 for you. Let's immediately get into it right here, what it is that he did last year and why some people are skeptical about Dylan Cease. It wasn't a good year. It wasn't characteristic of what he's capable of doing, but I'm really not that worried. He had 215 strikeouts and 168 innings. That's incredible.
Yeah.
The whip was, I think, where some of the problems were lying right there.
You can easily point at the walk stuff, but with a pitcher like Dylan Cease, the walks are gonna come. You know, and I'm not directly comparing him to this guy, but a very similar pitcher who's got lots of strikeout stuff, who also gets a lot of walks. That guy is Blake Snell. Right? And when you do finesse it, when you do find that perfect release and you can fine tune it and you throw that pitch at the correct moment and get batters to swing and miss and actually chase out of the zone, you get incredible years that Dylan Cease has put up in the past. Last year, he actually had one of his best strikeout seasons. In fact, he led the league in strikeouts per 9. Now, I know strikeouts don't lead to wins, but that just shows you how good his stuff is. And I'm going to just jump right ahead to this right here. His slider is what makes him so good. When you look at the past years, he had a 25 run value on that slider. That shit has a lot of movement. That's the wipeout stuff. Now, last year, they weren't chasing the slider. When you look at overall the walk rate, he was walking a lot more guys. Looking at that walk rate up to 3.8, and when you look at Baseball Savant, that percentile, it's in the blue. It's 20th percentile right there. So that's leading to the whip. That's leading to the big collapses and starts. He's had great starts mixed into last year. It's just getting overshadowed by the blow-up starts. And that's why his ERA is sitting at that 4.5.
Now, my question to you is, okay, that's why he wasn't doing phenomenal last year.
Right.
Are you confident that that is going to change coming to Toronto, being 29 years old and, you know, having the second half of his career?
Right, and I can't say for certain that he's going to, but I will say this. He has the ability to do so. He's done it in the past. When he was with Chicago White Sox, he was a phenomenal pitcher. You know, that great 2022 year where he was Cy Young too. He had a 2.2 ERA. There's some pitchers out there, and again, like, very weak comparison, but Blake Snell has had ups and downs. He was trying to finesse that control, but now that Blake Snell's kind of rounding out and he's getting older and he's finding his veteranness and his experience, he's starting to get a little bit more stable. You gotta hope, if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, a similar thing here happens to Mr. Dylan Cease now that he's in Toronto for 7 years.
Now, this is really cool. I'm just seeing a tweet about this right now. Shout out to Thomas Nestico. I was not familiar with this, but this is awesome. And I think that there's something to be said for this. And I think, honestly, this could be a big reason why he did get as much money as he just got 23 minutes ago. There you go. Dylan Cease, high-powered righty who has some of the best strikeout stuff in baseball. We know that. That is so totally true. And by the way, I cannot wait to be picking him every single week for the K per 9 wheel. For those of you who know, you know, but this will be the automatic guy right there.
I don't know, Trey Savage.
Also true. Wow, that's actually really exciting. You go back to back with Cease and Savage. Holy shit.
You have an actual competitive week. We're gonna have some fun weeks.
Wow. His career has been a roller coaster, but his durability reigns supreme as he has never missed a start. He was my number one pitcher available in free agency. That's from Thomas Nestico. Never one time missed a single start. No, that's incredible.
And look, I don't want cracks in my pillar. And I when I'm thinking about a guy replacing Gosman, I need a dude who can give me 31, 32 starts. And yeah, look at what he's done. He hasn't been hurt since never, actually. He's had 32 starts, 33 starts, 33, 32.
He never missed one.
He never misses a freaking start. So that's that pillar. That's what you want: consistency, innings, and with the upside of giving you strikeout stuff. He's going to be 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 as a Toronto Blue Jay. You got to hope that, just like a lot of pitchers in big leagues, he ages like fine wine, and the best years are yet to come.
That's the thing, right? He's just got inherently such phenomenal stuff right there. And I think what we saw last year, knock on wood, find the wood and knock on it.
Yeah.
I think what we saw last year was a little bit of the floor of Dylan Cease.
Yes,
still a great season though, right? Like, you still got roughly 170 innings. You still had a crap load of strikeouts. Yeah, the 4.5 ERA wasn't the best that it could be, but like, if that is the floor right there, I'm okay with that, because we know that the ceiling is going to be him getting 250 strikeouts with an ERA in the low 3 and probably going to be getting Cy Young votes. And I really do think that you are going to see potentially a little bit less consistency than somebody like a Kevin Gausman, but you could argue that Dylan Cease, he might have the upside to have even better seasons than the best that we've seen from Kevin Gausman, right? So it's a little bit of a different pitcher right there than the Jays typically go after, but obviously they like his stuff. They like his underlying numbers, and how could you not? He had a 15.6 swinging strike rate last year. The only one the only person who had something better than that, 15.6%, was Tarek Skubal. So he's got stuff that plays like a Cy Young. The Jays liked it, and they paid for it.
That's the thing. Like, the only thing hurting him is him, right? And when you have such great movement on your pitches, especially that slider, you have to be able to control it. It's hard to control it, right? I mean, we even see it. You're probably going to bank on this. Trey Savage is going to go through hard times too, because he has such incredible movement, and people are probably going to lay off, right? So Dylan Cease, you got to cut him some slack. I want to give a shout out here to Daniela Castro with a $2 dono, saying, do we still have enough money for Bo? And I think we'll answer that question.
I was going to say, I don't want to derail this conversation
I don't want to derail
too much, but the ripple effect, let me tell you guys, if you're just tuning in right now, stick around for a while, because we are going to get into the ripple effect of this, and I do think that the ripple effect is rather large.
Yeah, and we'll definitely have a podcast out tomorrow morning, kind of like after the dust kind of settles, kind of recapping and what's next for the Blue Jays.
Yep.
But let's keep talking about Dylan Cease. I found this stat pretty interesting. There's a couple stats right here. If you're into expected numbers and Baseball Savant and whatnot, then you're going to like to hear this. Dylan Cease last year, his expected ERA was very good. Yeah, he had a 4.55 actual ERA, but because of the stuff, because it plays so good, his expected ERA was 13th in baseball at 3.46. That's around Joe Ryan. That's around Max Fried,
Freddie Peralta. Was talked about as being one of the biggest trade targets, right?
Right, like these are actual studs, and I don't see a Toronto Blue Jay up there with the expected numbers. So if you're not at expected numbers, I totally get it. You can brush me off, whatever. But that's one proven stat right there that the stuff should play. Even looking at the 2025 numbers, expected ERA high, expected batting average is high, but low, obviously, for the opponents. And the fastball velo is great. The whiff, the K, the great. It's all great. It's just the walks.
Well,
that's it.
You know what? If you're not into expected numbers, let's talk about actual numbers right here. I just saw this tweet as well. This is from Damon on Twitter, so shout out to Damon on Twitter.
Damon.
He's looking at every single starting pitcher since 2021, okay? So that's the larger sample size. That includes the bad year from semi-bad year from last year, but then also the really, really good years that he's had. And as you can see, Dylan Cease is in and amongst the top 20 in a lot of the key categories in the last 4 years, right? He's 7th in innings pitched. That's bound to happen when you don't miss a start. He is first in all of baseball in strikeouts. I know that, okay, like you don't need strikeouts to be an incredible pitcher, but still, like, guys, just from a fan standpoint, that is going to be really fun to watch. Yeah. So that is going to be exciting. He's 4th in WAR. So if you're a WAR individual, like this is a top 5 pitcher in all of baseball in the last 4 years in terms of wins above replacement. that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get more wins. And he has certainly been helping with that, right? So there's a lot of numbers right here to indicate that Dylan Cease, whilst he has had ups and downs for certain, overall, when you just zoom out for a second, you look at the entire body of work, the entire body of work is fucking awesome.
It's great. And, you know, I know some people are really nervous about it, but you really got to understand this is a 7-year deal. If he comes out of the gate struggling in 2026, you can't, you know, write the guy off.
Oh, hell no.
You have to give him some time. And I'm not saying he's a developing project because he's already had such great upside, but you got to give him time to find his comfort in Toronto.
Yes.
And that's why he signs a 7-year deal, so you get comfortable and pitch at his best.
Yeah, also, a quick answer right here to Mr. Agent saying, will you guys read questions? Save some of your questions to later in the podcast. We don't want to derail the entire conversation right yet, you know, because we do want to get through all of the stuff that we want to get through right here, but we'd love to hear some of your questions, some of your concerns, some of your thoughts about all this, and we will get to that a little bit later in this live stream.
Matthew Dennison here with a 279 donut saying, keep in mind, Rosenthal said there were deferrals. Okay, so I missed that.
I did see some people in the chat talking about deferred money, which is going to be really interesting to see what that could look like.
Let's pull a Dodgers.
That's the thing. It's all been the LA Dodgers up until this point. And should they want to defer some money, I'm totally fine with that because that should theoretically leave the door open. I think the door is open anyways, but that should really leave the door wide open if you did want to go out and, let's say, re-sign somebody like a Bichette or go and get somebody like a Kyle Tucker.
Sure.
We actually heard from Bob Nightingale on this show. He came on here and he was talking about how he believes that there could be some opt-outs in Bichette's potential contract. Like maybe he comes back and, you know, it is for a 5 or 6 year deal, but maybe there's an opt-out after year 1 or 2. And maybe those 2 years are really front-loaded. And if that's what they wanted to do, well, how about we kick some of that Dylan Cease money down the road?
Right.
We get to pay Bichette. Everyone is happy, and it's all going to work out. Just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like, this isn't your money, this isn't my money. Whatever way they want to structure it, I don't care as long as the product is on the field winning, you know, hopefully World Series. Let's give one more shout out to Olms in here with a 699 dono saying, guys, his struggles are not a concern. We talk about Robbie Ray like this. Did we forget who our pitching coach is? One of the better coaches. Yeah, sure. Like, Pete Walker, work your magic, man. But that's the thing. Like, I think it's just a fine tweak of some sorts. I'm not a pitching coach. I don't know mechanics. I don't know Dylan Cease and how he throws. But I gotta imagine if it's just a little bit of a tweaking thing in terms of like where you want to place your pitch. Like, are you starting at middle and it's ending way away? Like, do you need to start it up high and away? Like, I don't know. Like, that's the type of like little tweak I feel like Dylan Cease would have to make.
And frankly, I just have faith that like he's going to figure it out. I really do.
He's talented.
I have faith that he's going to do it, and he's had some great years in the past. I know I see people in the chat right here. There's certainly a large community, outspoken community right now saying that this is a terrible signing. I have to disagree. I have to wholeheartedly disagree. They went out and they got their guy, and if you're complaining about the money, like I really think that that's kind of stupid, guys.
It doesn't matter.
They keep proving us wrong when it comes to the money. We are not the Cincinnati Reds. We are not the Chicago White Sox. We are not, you name it, Colorado Rockies. We have now entered the Toronto Blue Jays into the upper echelon of upper echelons when it comes to high spending, big market organizations.
Some people might laugh at this, but we are playing with the Yankees and Dodgers. Like,
totally,
we are a top team in terms of payroll. Like, let's get used to it. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. And I know because for a long time, Toronto was used to this. We were like, oh, we got to play on a budget. And even when we started this podcast, we were thinking about budgets and like, okay, we have about $50 million to spend. That means we could do this and this. No, you can do whatever the hell you want.
When you go to the World Series, you can do whatever you want.
You could do whatever the hell you want. So that's my thoughts on that. I do want to transition a little bit, get back to the Dylan Cease conversation and what this means to the Blue Jays roster in 2026. Keegan Matheson out here tweeting this, and I echo his thoughts exactly. This is the exact type of deal the Blue Jays needed in their rotation. With Kevin Gausman and Shane Bieber are free agents in 2026, while Jose Barrios has a player option. Now, Cease and Trey Savage, the two new long-term cornerstones, a massive statement by Toronto. That's the thing. And you can't build Rome in one day, right? In Rome, or old Rome was starting to deteriorate. You got to think about the next wave, and obviously Rome meaning the next window of Blue Jays era. So they're starting to build it with Trey Savage, and now you got Dylan Cease. Maybe next year we'll add another pillar to Rome's, this Rome.
Probably, right? And whether that be them signing back Bieber, signing back Gosman, or making a trade or what have you, like you're going to acquire, or who knows, maybe Ricky Tiedemann comes up and is really good, right? Like that could happen as well. There's so many different ways, but what I do know is that for this coming season, like the rotation is going to slap.
Oh, it's going to slap.
It's going to slap, guys. I was already like, I kept saying we needed another starting pitcher, and I did truly believe that, and well, now we got it. I don't, but like it's going to freaking slap for next year. Looking over right here, you got Kevin Gosman. They're still slotting him as the number one, but then you got Dylan Cease right behind him. Wow. They got Trey Savage there. I mean, the upside, the excitement around Trey Savage is phenomenal. Somebody let me know in the chat. I think he is still eligible for it, but I'd be looking at him as certainly a top 5 rookie of the year candidate for certain. Then you got Jose Barrios. What are you going to get out of there? You got Shane Bieber coming back. And let's not forget, they've now moved Eric Lauer into the bullpen, but it doesn't need to always be that way because Eric Lauer was a fucking stud last year.
Yeah, that's the thing too. And fuck it, they might even go out and sign Chris Bassett to a $10 million deal when he goes and plays out of the bullpen or is a 6-man option. Whatever it is, this rotation, like you said, I'll use the same word. It slaps. Why is Shane Bieber in the 5 spot? You know what I mean?
That's crazy, right?
Like, this guy had years where he was playing better than Dylan Cease, and in a full healthy season, I could totally see him playing better than Dylan Cease. But the point being is you've got 3 veteran dudes, 4 if you want to count Jose Barrios, who doesn't has the stuff like he used to have, but 3 veteran dudes that next year could pitch for under a 4 ERA, maybe even under a 2, or excuse me, under a 3 in their best seasons. This is amazing. Like, and again, when we're looking at 2026, like Keegan Masson saying, you got Dylan Cease, you got Savage locked in. This is perfect. The pitching is taken care of. And I couldn't be happier.
Yes.
Now, the question is, what's next? What's next for the
And
Bulls?
there will be a lot of things coming next. I don't think this is it, guys. This isn't the one and only move, and then we hang it up for winter. No, there's going to be a lot more coming. Shout out to Chris right here, just projecting out the rotation as we just did. $60.99 donation. Thank you very much, brother. Love the content, boys. The rotation is going to be elite. Of course it is. Now, to all of those individuals who were talking about the money and everything like that, I did just want to give a quick shout out to this. That was actually the second biggest contract that the Toronto Blue Jays have ever given out, ever. So you're right. It was a lot of money spent, but I think that they believe in what he's got. I certainly do. I believe in what he has as well. $210 million is a crap load, but I really don't think that this is going to stop them or inhibit them from doing anything else. No. And should there be any deferrals, okay, now we're playing that game as well, right? Yeah. So I'm not upset about it. I guess before we transition and talk about what this means, what's coming next, do you think that 210, 7 years is a massive overpay that you're upset with?
No, $30 million per year. I mean, that's the going rate for a proven quality starting pitcher. Like a guy who literally will never miss a start. You're going to get him in the middle of his career, the prime of his career. That is exactly what I would expect a starting pitcher to get. And now some people might be saying, oh, I've saw in a couple of comments, that's too long. I mean, again, I've watched baseball for a long time, and I'm sure some of you older folk out there might be saying, oh, I've watched it longer than you, son. But listen,
which they have.
Which they have. But listen, I know this already. Starting pitching gets better with age. I mean, look at Max Scherzer. Now, you don't see too many 41-year-olds still going out there and competing in the World Series on an offensive side of things. The starting pitching gets better with age. And for me, I want to soak up all that juicy years of Dylan Cease. So for me, it's not an overpay. And also, mind you this, I always think about the future. In 2030 or 2031, Dylan Cease's contract, if he's panning out well like we're anticipating, he could look like a fucking steal at that point. Who knows how much money pitchers could be getting at that point? You pay for your guy now, and you think about the money later.
I also think as well, it comes from a place of luxury to even have the right to complain about the money in the contract, right? Like, there's going to be Tampa Bay Rays fans out there that will never have the opportunity to complain about a contract.
Yeah.
So the fact that we get to sit around here and what are we doing? And folks, I mean, like, just think about how privileged we actually are right now. Ross, in years prior, people have been complaining. Oh, guys are falling off the board. We've been complaining about that. Guys are leaving. You got to hurry up, Ross. This time, he said, hell no, we're not even playing around with that. I'm going to give this man his money. Is it potentially more than what the market was expecting? Sure. I will give you that. It is more than what the market was expecting. But he ain't screwing around. We got our guy. And what it means now for the remainder of free agency is now you can fully focus on either getting back Bo Bichette or going out and getting Kyle Tucker. And I think, honestly, that is going to be the next move to transition into that conversation.
That is, before we do, I thought that was funny because we were just talking about it. Guardians Force, saying these guys are insufferable. There you go. Guardians Force. So there you go, folks. I bet Guardians Force wishes he could drop $210 million on a great pitcher like Dylan Cease. But let's move on and let's answer Daniela Castro, the OG member of this channel. She was asking, what does this mean about Bo Bichette? Does this take us out of the running for Bo Bichette? I'm going to say my answer very blank. No. We are definitely going in on Bo Bichette still. That money is off the board for the Blue Jays. They lost, I think, what was Bo Bichette making last year? I don't know the exact dollar amounts, but there's still a pocket, a hole to be filled up by the Blue Jays, and they got increased revenue. I think we're well within our right to go and get Bo Bichette. That was always the plan. Go get a starting pitcher and go get an elite bat. So, no, it does not take us out of Bo Bichette.
I don't think it has anything to do with that. I mean, we were operating under the ideology that Toronto was going to go and get a starting pitcher regardless. Now, is this potentially more money than we had anticipated? Sure it is. But I also didn't think that they were going to go to the World Series. And they did that. And they had a lot of money to spend after that. They needed to go out and to get a starter. And we keep talking about these pillars. They were going to be losing some of those pillars next year. That was just bound to happen. They went out and they got their guy. That doesn't take them out at all, in my opinion, of the Bo Bichette talks or the Kyle Tucker talks. And I would argue that especially for Kyle Tucker, maybe even for Bo Bichette as well, but it's not going to play as much because he's already been here, knows the team. But for Kyle Tucker, I mean, now this team is really set up. Maybe the one concern that you had was like, okay, I come to this squad right now, but who's going to be pitching for us in a couple years? How's that going to look? Maybe they're not going to invest anymore. Well, they just did. Now you know who the ace is going to be on this team for the next 7 years, or at the very least, a strong rotational piece. And if they're still in on you, which I imagine they are going to be, you have to think that this is going to come up in those conversations and it's bound to help.
And to make everyone feel comfortable right now, like, I kind of see this as somewhere in between a Kevin Gausman and a Barrios type of player, where it's like, he could have upside, but he's got stability, right? You know what I mean? Like the Kevin Gausman, he could be the ace of your rotation, but at least he's got stability, which is the Jose Barrios, right? And Jose Barrios, I know some people are complaining about now, like he's not so good, blah, 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 blah. And that's totally fair. But don't forget, for a long time, he anchored this rotation. When we traded for him in 2021, he was anchoring that thing down with stability. Then what happened the following years? You go sign Kevin Gausman, you go get Chris Bassett, you go get other pitchers to help out the rotation. The Dylan Cease could be the anchor next year. You never know. Something big could happen. I mean, Derek Skubal hitting free agency next year. You never know, right? Like, there could be some other guy to give you upside. So I'm not happy. I mean, I'm not upset about getting a quality dude.
No, of course
and I don't think anybody should.
No, they shouldn't be, and it really shouldn't take us out of the conversation of any of the other big names, too. Now, does it mean that we're going to go out and get Tatsuya Imai at this point? Likely not. Likely not going to be doing that.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't see them going out and getting Ranger Suarez now. That would be insanity. I mean, you never know. You can never put it past people, but probably at this point, the starting pitching market will be done. But in terms of the bats and in terms of the bullpen, 100% we're still there. Jared Carabas, by the way, who is a diehard Boston Red Sox fan. All right, he's a big Red Sox fan. He's looking for any reason or any way to crap on the Toronto Blue Jays. He's coming out and he's thinking the exact same thing that I just said. Am I crazy for thinking the Blue Jays locking up Dylan Cease to a $210 million deal only increases the likelihood of a Bo Bichette reunion? If I'm
Guys.
Bo, I want to know that trip to the World Series wasn't an aberration and that we're going for this shit for the next decade,
Guys,
which is what we're doing.
Guys, like, if you think about, like, a planet just growing, what happens? You increase the gravitational pull. Like, when you're bringing in huge amounts of rock, and I'm thinking about Dylan Cease as a big-ass rock, you're adding that to your planet, you're going to increase more gravitational pull. You add Dylan Cease. You add Bichette. Fuck, if I'm another free agent, I'm thinking, the fuck? Like, I want to join that. I want to join that team right there and what they got going on. It's the same thing that happened with the Dodgers. It was the same thing that happened with the Mets a while ago when they were building a big team right there. But now you're seeing it with the Blue Jays. Finally, we've proven that we're a good team and we're pulling in more people. And now I did want to go and I wanted to take a look at all these contracts right here. Look at what's happening with the Blue Jays. Look at the next 4 seasons. You're going to have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. You're going to have Andres Jimenez. You're going to have Anthony Santander. I know some people might feel different about that, but you're going to have him. You're going to have Alejandro Kirk. And there's some other great names in here that are still under contract. Davis Schneider. You've got Addison Barger. You've got Yariel Rodriguez still in the mix right here. Then you're going to have Braden Fisher, Mason Fluharty. And you got Trey Savage as well. Like, you're already seeing, like, the next 4 years, a window is starting to emerge. It's all about creating the next window. Dylan Cease is, and he's not even in here right now. They haven't updated this. He will be also in that window. Blue Jays, my last thoughts about this is just, my goodness, great signing. I don't care about the money. Money, we'll figure that out later. If we keep going to World Series, it'll just pay for itself. So my thoughts are, thank you, Blue Jays. Thank you, Ross Atkins. Thank you, Mark Shapiro, for going out and getting it done this early before December. I appreciate you. Let's keep going, man. We're not done. Let's go get Bichette. Let's go get some bullpen guys.
And I think that's the best part about all of this is that part of the team, that question with the team, the entire pitching, not the bullpen, but the starting pitching is solved. So now you can fully focus in on Kyle Tucker, on Bichette, and should you say, let's just say that shit hits the fan. You miss out on both of them. Well, you know what? We still went and addressed the biggest need anyways. We still got the starting pitcher. It's not going to be an hell of an offseason. We have now officially exited the time of it being an hell of an offseason. It's impossible now.
No, we won. I mean, yeah, if you lose Bichette, that's a major
gonna
blow.
hurt.
It'll be like a B. Maybe a B minus.
But they've already addressed one of the biggest areas on this team that they had to address, probably the biggest area on this team that they had to address, being the starting pitching. And now you can fully focus in on getting Bo, getting Tucker, or alternatively, I see a lot of people in the comments saying Edwin Diaz. Why not?
Why not?
Right?
Why not? Like, actually, like Edwin Diaz, and we've already talked to him. Like, that, we heard nothing about Dylan Cease. We were saying this before we hit live. We heard nothing. We've actually heard something about Edwin Diaz, actual stuff, where they were literally talking to them at the GM meetings. It's not over yet, though, folks. We got winter meetings coming up in like a week and a half. Literally not this Sunday, but next Sunday. We're going to be doing some content Sunday, Monday, covering all of that. We could be seeing another move, and I wouldn't be shocked if I saw another move in the next 10 days.
No, I think Blue Jays are going to be hyper aggressive.
Yeah.
Let's get to some questions right now, some thoughts from all of you. While you guys are putting it into the chat right now, let me ask you, Adam, where do you rank this Toronto Blue Jays starting rotation, the 6 of them walking in to 2025?
I mean, I gotta think and pull from all the different rotations.
Keeping in mind too, there's some like Ranger Suarez,
you never know. Yeah,
will change, right?
I mean, I would definitely say we're top 12. You know, I could safely say that, right? Like, we have guys that have proven it. Any of those 3 guys I mentioned, you know, being Dylan Cease, Kevin Gausman, or Shane Bieber can give you a mid 3. Trey Savage, we don't know. Maybe Jose Barrios is at the end of his career and he's just a 4 guy now. But you look at that and, yeah, I'm thinking that's a top 12 right there. And they're veteran, too. And they can give you innings. So I don't want to go as far as say as like, yeah, we're like top 5 because, you know, we don't have a Tarek Skubal, unfortunately. Dylan Cease could pitch like a 250. He has that ability, but we don't know that for certain. And I will give that to some people who are doubting right now. I would say top 12 comfortably.
I think I could safely say top 8 comfortably. I would even push it that far. Now, we do have Jimmy Ballcap Sports in here saying the Cease deal makes me sad. And I did
see his tweet about that.
I need to know, what did he say?
It was on the tweet replying to Keegan Matheson. Jimmy,
are you upset about the money, Jim?
Look. There you go, Jim. We were featured here, buddy.
They needed Ranger
someone's...
Suarez. They needed Framber Valdez. Dylan Cease is the wrong guy. Jim, I said this to people already. You, my friend, are talking from a place of privilege. We just went out. We got an upper echelon pitcher. We have to appreciate it, man. And who knows? Who really knows if Framber Valdez is going to be better than Dylan Cease over the next 7 years?
Dude, he can throw it his catcher again, and then it's game over
or
for him.
Ranger Suarez. Now, would I have preferred Ranger Suarez?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, let's get real here. Dylan Cease wasn't my number one. It was Ranger Suarez. I was looking at Emai too. Like that guy looked really tantalizing. But we actually said this on a podcast, and I remember this. We would not complain if Dylan Cease was signed by the Blue Jays. Yeah,
exactly.
And we're not complaining. We're not doing it right now. You know, I'm not complaining.
No, I'm not complaining at all. I think that it is a great move by Toronto to go solidify that pitching staff a little bit more. And whilst it's not Ranger Suarez or maybe the guy that you wanted or had at the top of your list, he's still a phenomenal pitcher and was part of the top 5 starting pitchers on the market. And who knows how it's all going to map out. In 5 years, when we look back at all of this, if Ranger Suarez has won 3 Cy Youngs, all right, fine.
Right.
I mean, we made the wrong move.
And Cease is pitching for a 5 ERA, but striking out, 200. Okay, fine. We were wrong. But whatever, man. Like, look, you gotta bet on some guys. They're betting on Dylan Cease, and we gotta ride. And I bet come fucking May, no one's gonna be complaining if this guy's like helping lead the rotation with like a, at the time in May, like a 2.50 ERA. No one will be complaining, and I truly believe he is going to be just fine. And also, Ballcap Sports News saying I've hated Cease for years. This is hell for me.
You have a vendetta. I understand.
Okay.
I understand. Laura Z saying Jim should hop on the live. I would ask him, but it feels like that would be a lot of work for him to do just immediately.
Get all the shit together.
But if Jim would let us know, we will certainly hop on any of your lives or in the future, maybe tomorrow or in the couple of days when the winter meetings come up. We should collaborate in some capacity.
We should do a winter meetings collaboration. Any questions in the chat? I just see a lot of complaints.
Yeah.
I just see complaints and then people saying let's go,
I just I really don't understand it, because ultimately it doesn't take away from their ability to sign anybody else. When they paid Vladimir Guerrero Jr. $500 million, everyone was thinking that was it. We're never getting another free agent again. We've just done that.
Again, like my whole, astronomy, reference. You build a fucking huge planet, bigger gravitational force. You needed the core, the nucleus of the planet, which was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Everyone else is coming right now. Everyone is coming.
And the World Series helps build the
World
core.
Series. Yeah, because now actually, the Ernie Clement, core layer is starting to burst out there. And then you had other layers burst out, like Addison Barger and Trey Savage. It's looking way more attractive right now. A lot more pull. And I think that's why I think we're not done. I could easily see us doing another $200 million contract this offseason.
I think it will.
And I think we will.
Really think it will. 100%.
I think we will.
Folks, I think that's where we're going to cap it right now. If you do have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. We will make sure to address them tomorrow for our podcast.
Or you could submit it in our mailbag and we'll address them on Friday, live.
Or you can submit it in our mailbag and we will address it live once again. We'll be live next on Friday at 6 p.m. Tomorrow, we will have a video breaking this down further, probably looking at some of the fallout moves that are bound to happen. I'm sure that rumors, rumblings, other shit will be hitting the fan as we are not live anymore. So we will address all of that tomorrow.
Yeah, guys, make sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and also, guys, it's awesome to see y'all back here with the Blue Jays making moves. I missed you guys.
Everybody.
The craziness. Sure. I see the people, the doubters, the haters, the lovers. It's all awesome. It's a great community, the best on the internet. So again, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and as always, guys, go Jays, go! Here we go.